What's going on, guys? Patrick here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be focusing on P&L reports. I've been doing a lot of growth and changes within the company, and I've done all kinds of tutorials, and so I really wanted to focus on some of the things that I do behind the scenes, within the background, things of that nature that I do to run the company. So today we're going to be focusing on P&L reports. You know, we're trying to focus on how much money does a tint shop really make, because most people think it's all profit, but I'm going to break down what a real P&L report looks like, so you guys can see where the money goes, and then to determine if you guys are reaching goal, if you're successful, if you're making money. Just because you're working a lot or tinting a lot of cars does not necessarily mean that you're making money, and that's the whole point of having a tint company. So so we're gonna go ahead and go right into it. And I'm going to show you a sample of a P&L report that I have here. So it's really pretty simple. I did generate this through ChatGPT. This is something that anyone can do. Just go ahead and put in the parameters and it'll pop it up here for you. But for those of you guys that don't know what a P&L report is, you're basically, it gives you a snapshot of the business. And it's basically your revenue minus your expenses, which will equal your net profit. So this is going to be important. I do suggest you do this weekly. I do this weekly. I'm trying to stop saying so many times. So the reason for the weekly is because not only do I go week by week and know if we've hit goal, if we're profitable, if we're not profitable, but I can also compile a monthly P&L report for that. And then also, even bigger, I can do a quarterly, biannually, and an annual report. So I can get all the information to really zoom into it. Also, there's other things too, like you can track when your slow season is versus your busy season, and what the differential is when it's slow or when it's fast, because then that way you're able to plan your year a little bit better and kind of help guide you through the year. So going into this here, very at the very top, you'll see total sales. That's going to be exactly what it says. What is your total sales for the week? I do this weekly, like I said, so I'd write that there. And then just go over a couple different things here. Tool expenses, ad spend, those are what's known as fixed expenses. That's what we've budgeted for the week, and we know that that those aren't going to fluctuate. The things that do fluctuate is the amount of payout we're going to have, the amount of tax collected, our film costs. Those things are variable costs, so those will change from week to week. But yeah, essentially, you're going to go ahead and put in your total sales up here, and you're going to go ahead and subtract everything else that it costs you to make those total sales. So, for example, tool expenses, we do about 125 a week for tool expenses, and that's going to cover blades for the plotter, strips for the plotter, new pouches, new tools that need to be replaced, new spray tanks, water bottles, water for the installers, Gatorades for the installers, maybe snacks for the installers, things of that nature. So that's what that line item is. Our ad spend is exactly what it is. That's how much we spend in advertising per week for that division of the company. And we know how much money we're spending because we know how much money we spend per month. So then that's what we're spending on that. And then you can see a couple of different percentages. I do basically break down a percentage for my installers and for the shop that we're currently at. So where it says Logan's Pay, you might say rent, and rent would end up being a fixed cost. So with this particular situation, I end up paying the shop owner a percentage of the sales. So sometimes it's really good and sometimes it isn't. Kind of just depends. Moving on over to the next one, sales tax collected and processing fees collected. I do charge processing fees just because they do end up being a lot. I mean, the last year I didn't charge clients for processing fees, and I wasn't even really doing that much work. I think I spent like $14,000 in processing fees, which is a lot. I'd rather keep 14 grand, you know what I mean, and then just pass off the fee to the client. Just the cost of doing business, really. Film costs, and that's it. So I do the sales tax collected here because that's really important. I have to know how much sales tax I've collected, and then I have to move that money into a separate account so that when my CPA tells me that it's time to pay the state sales tax, that I have that money ready and stored and put away. So that's really important. Also, processing fees. Realistically, I charge a processing fee because I get charged a processing fee through my payment processor, but so I'll never really even see that money. I just need to make sure that I'm charging enough for the processing fees that it's more equal to or more than what I'm getting charged for processing. Then that way, that's not going to be like a lost revenue, a loss in money there. Film costs, and film costs will be the very last one. So you'd pretty much subtract all your expenses from your total sales, and it'll give you your net profit. So that's what the total expenses are. You'll go ahead and add up all your expenses, hit it into the total profit sector right there at the very bottom, and then the net profit, it'll tell you that you minus your total expenses from your total sales, and that number, hopefully it's in the plus. If it's in the plus, that means you made money. If it's in the minus, then that means you lost money for that week. Also, we know percentage of goal reached. So we know a specific dollar amount that we're trying to shoot for per week, whether it's 4,000, whether it's 2,000, whether it's 8,000. Every company is going to be a little bit different. But basically what we do is we take the total sales and divide that by our total number. So let's just say, for example, we had a total goal of $4,000 a week, and we had total sales of 3,000. That means we were at 75% of goal. We did not reach goal. We were not at 100%. And I add that there just so we can kind of see where we're going and how we've been. There's a lot of information that you can collect here. Realistically, as you can see under Chase's pay, you see company's pay. So that's the company, my company's pay. So that's also known as a margin. So one thing that I do is that if the net profit ends up going into the negative here, which does happen from time to time, slow weeks, things of that nature, unexpected things happen. I can theoretically take some of the money that the company made and then throw it there and see if that will offset it to at least break even. The goal is to not be losing money. We don't want to be losing. We want to be making money. So you can always take that because the company pay, the margin for the company pay really is more of you need the company needs to make money so that you have money to expand. If you want to expand, if you want to do more ad spend, if you want to open up another shop, if you want to add more labor, you want to add another installer, like a number of different things that you want to do, that's really where that money goes. And then also yourself, after all that, then you have to pay yourself, the owner, like whatever's left over. And the goal is that you're making money and making money for yourself, because this is doesn't really include your personal pay. So yeah, that could be a definite line item, maybe under the sales tax. Maybe like figure out how much you need to make per week, and then add that into this as well, because let's just say you need to make $1,000 a week so you can pay your personal bills. That's an expenditure. That's something that you need to put into here. I don't do that here. It's kind of in the company pay because I have an automotive division. I have a commercial and residential division and a number of other things. So like my pay gets kind of spread out from all the divisions. But yeah, definitely if you're like a one-man show, if you're only doing automotive, then I would definitely add your weekly pay into here, and then that way it keeps it a little bit more organized. And you can tell. So, I mean, a couple good things about a P&L report. Let me go switch it here. That's just an example here. We're going to go dive deeper in another video on each line item, where to get those, how to get those, so that it's really dialed in. As a business, you really do need to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, I mean, you're definitely not going to grow. Unless you're just like so successful and just happen to be lucky and you're just charging a ridiculous amount and whatnot. It's hard to grow. It's hard to keep growing and make more money if you don't know where you're at or where you're going. So some of the good things is if you're doing it weekly, like let's say week 1 you hit 75% of goal. That doesn't mean, I mean, you could be losing money. It depends on the P&L report. But if you make and do 125% the next week, then you theoretically made goal for both weeks. So there's a way to get out of a bad week by just, doing a little bit harder and pushing a little bit more the next week to keep you guys on track. Let's see here. Some takeaways at the very end here is I, like I said, I always like to run my P&L reports weekly. I pay my guys weekly, so I have to run through their numbers anyways because I need to know how much I'm paying them. And so I just write it all down. And like I said, I can go week by week. I can see if I need to change my ad spend, if I need to increase it, if I need to decrease it. What is my ad spend and in relation to my total revenue for the week, and is it up? And if it is up, that's always a good thing, right? You don't want to be losing money on that. But is there other ways that you can spend ad spend, right? That's going to be more beneficial to you. A number of different things that you can pull from this. You can track percentages, not just totals. Compare against revenue goals. Like I said, you can see where you're at and what your goal is, and if you're reaching that goal. And from adjusting pricing for your cars, how much you're spending on ads, how much you're paying your labor or your installers, and for labor, things of that nature. Those are all wildly important, and we're going to go and get deeper here. But this video was just strictly so you guys can understand what a P&L report is and what an example of one would look like. Again, here it is right here. And you can get this, like I said, I made this through ChatGPT. Just talk through it. Just let it know that you're trying to create a P&L report, a weekly P&L report. Ask it what things should be in there. Add some things to there if you have some things that you want in there. And so, I mean, that's pretty much a good look onto that. Real simple, really easy, nothing too complicated today. But yeah, if you guys want access to this P&L report, like I said, ChatGPT. If you want me to help it break it down, if you guys are looking for consultation, if this is something that might be a little bit over your head, if this is over your head, we haven't even deep dive into the P&L report. I'm just showing you guys how to create it, and there's a whole nother deeper level in regards to analyzing the P&L report and seeing what information you can extract from it so that it can guide you into your business decisions moving forward in the company to be able to grow more and make more, things of that nature. So if you guys are interested in doing some consultations with me as well, you guys can go over to drystringprep.com. I do video consultations and in-person consultations. And then that way I do like hour-long video conferences, things like this, where we kind of just break down everything for you and see where we can help you and things of that nature. So you can go to drystringprep.com under the services. There's consultations there. You'll be able to see it super easy. But yeah, and that's pretty much it for this video. I am going to do another one in regards to a deeper dive once you do have the information on the P&L report. So be able to make sure to keep an eye out for that one if you like this video. If you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions, comment. I thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you next time.